internet really fast. All right, magneto installation, induction systems, turbochargers, exhaust systems. That gives me about 1 day for each thing. See, therein lies the problem. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of reading, got the Q&As. What is this thing right here?
Starter gear.
It is not. This is a starter ring gear assembly made of 2 parts. This part on the outside is called a
starter ring.
That's a starter ring gear. That's steel. All of this in the middle is a starter ring gear support. Put it all together, it's starter ring gear assembly. Why do I say that? Because you can change this gear out. It's kind of fun. You take a grinder and you grind through, and you can't hit the aluminum, and you get really, really close, and then you put it in a vise and you squeeze the vise on the gear right there, and you go, and it just breaks, and the thing goes, boing, and it springs out. And then you take the new gear and you heat it up and you slide it on. And what happens if you slide it on incorrectly? Because there is a chamfered side and non-chamfered side.
Timing doesn't line up,
No, your starter will be damaged.
No, it's, yeah, I guess it would, but you don't put it on the airplane for starters. You have to cut it off. And you put a new one on.
Just heat it up real quick.
Yeah, no, we tried that. A friend of mine just like put it on backwards. And I'm like, God dang it. And if you're really cool when you put these on, or if you pay attention to what you're doing, you actually have to line up the gears. So right here we have a mark that's top center, and over here is maybe 20 and 25 degrees, and you should see how they got all the gears are lined up as best they can on those right there. So that gear lines up with that, and that lines up with that, and that's the way you should do it when you put them on, but that's not what we're going to talk about. So starter ring gear support assembly. Right there's a little O. Oh. Why is there an O right there?
Is that the one that's, how do you call it, like it's bigger or smaller?
Yeah, master bushing.
Master bushing.
So yeah, bigger or smaller. That's the one. So that goes over that. Oh, I already enlarged it. There we go. All right. Okay. So we're talking about magnetos. What is a magneto?
Magnetic field.
Ooh, self-contained ignition. Generally speaking, not everybody has had electricity when they go here, but it's only one person, so just kind of skip it for you. So magneto is a
self-contained
spark source. What's an AC generator that produces a high voltage, which is discharged at, I feel like I should actually write this because I just feel like there's some people who really need a refresher. Magneto, it is a self-contained ignition or spark source. How many people thought that you were done with magnetos and it was like, whew, made it through magnetos, don't have to worry about that anymore. It's behind me, never to be seen again. And you're like, ah, damn. Came back and bit you. It is essentially what?
AC generator.
I think I just said it a second ago. All you had to do is remember for 30 seconds. An AC generator, what does AC mean?
alternating current.
AC generator that produces a what?
High voltage.
How high?
20 to 40,000 volts.
High voltage, use a high voltage which is discharged at an exact time. How many do we have per engine?
2.
And there are 2 per engine. Always?
Maybe a dual assembly of one.
Liar.
Let's do, sometimes there's one.
One dual assembly.
Or if it's experimental, you don't need.
Except for
A dual magneto.
Turbines.
engines using
Single spark plugs per cylinder.
a D3000.
Oh, that's what I was going to say next.
A dual mag. So a dual mag is one mag. Unless you have dual mags, that means you have 2. But if you have a dual mag, you have 1.
So dual mag singular is a single mag.
Dual mag is one mag.
Dual mags.
If you have dual mags, you have two mags. Follow?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Who uses D3000s? Which, Continental or Lycoming?
Definitely Continental.
Lycoming, like as in an IO
I had a
360,
chance.
A1B6D. It's got that D right there. It's a dual mag, which is how many mags?
One.
One. Okay. One or both, or none. Got to throw that in there. One or both or none. Oh, no. My sentence will make sense without the none. One or both will have a system for easier starting. We'll have a system for easier starting. What is that system?
The impulse coupling.
Okay, well, one is an impulse coupling.
Like shower sparks.
How would you define an impulse coupling? It does what?
It retards the spark and makes it spin faster.
Creates a what?
Hot late spark.
Hot and late spark. How much late? Where does it usually
25
go?
degrees, top to center.
Usually just past TDC or at TDC. How do I know, by the way, how long it's going to delay it?
How when it clicks,
The book tells you.
when it clicks, if it should be on top, doesn't it?
Slicks have it written right on there usually. Lag, 5 degrees.
Oh.
That's 5 after TDC?
Nope, 5 degrees, which I find hard to believe. I've never seen one say 5, so that's a little more than 5 to me, but they usually say 25. I don't know.
Does it say 25? The 2 is just not on there.
It's a clear 5. It's laser etched in there, but that's what that is. But that's why you can't just throw a magneto at an airplane. Go, yeah, magneto's a magneto's a magneto. Even though they maybe look exactly the same, they'll have a different pin location, different cam assembly, and it'll do a different lag. So if the lag is not enough, then you're going to get what?
Kickback.
Kickback, which does what?
Destroys the engine.
Breaks things. All right, if it's too late, I'd rather have it too late than too early. So too late, seems like it'd still work, maybe just wouldn't, not efficient for the issue. Okay, and the other thing we had was the
Showers.
shower sparks, which is, how would you describe that?
Like a DC
Yeah, battery
DC
ignition.
current tricked into being an AC current.
Very good. DC current tricked to being kind of AC, chopped DC.
Yeah.
So an induction vibrator creates multiple sparks at or near TDC. Induction vibrator creates multiple sparks at or near TDC. And what's the last one, third one?
Start with
L. The laser ignition.
Okay.
I was going to say lasagna.
Yeah. Close enough.
That is Slick's electronic starting system. So you have one of those three. Or one or both will have it. So it's possible you have 2 mags with impulse couplings, the little 65, yours does, I think. Or you could have just one has an impulse, one doesn't. One has shower sparks, one doesn't. If only one has it, which side is the starting system on?
Left.
Why left?
For no particular reason.
There's a good reason now. What
standard.
happens if you think, well, there's no particular reason, so I'm just gonna put, it's easier to put that one on the right, we'll put the non.
Everybody's standardized to the left. So you switch your mag switch to the left if somebody doesn't know, because you just did whatever the fuck you wanted.
Yeah, there you go, it's standardized. So also when you do the key, right, left, both start,
Yeah, so left is.
in that
supposed to
start,
be-
it's gonna kill the right mag and let the left mag go. But if you don't know any better, you go right, left, both start, if your key is the start position, then you'll have it miswired and so it'll be trying to start on the non-impulse, while the impulse is dead, so. So you could put it on the right, but what do you need to do? Rewire the switch, or label the switches, this is backwards. Don't do stuff like that. Alright. Now, there are basically, how many steps to installing a magneto? 4. Steps to installing a magneto. How many steps are there?
4.
We say 4? Sometimes I say 3, sometimes I say 4. We'll say 4 this time and I'll include them all. Alright, step number 1. Do what?
Take it to TDC.
Time the engine.
Get the engine where you want it.
Okay, place the engine, Where, what? Exactly, what is it I'm looking for? Where's it gonna go?
Time to spark.
What?
Time to spark.
Time to spark. Well, I have a 6-cylinder engine. It times to spark 6 times in 6 different places. Which
On
one?
cylinder one.
Cylinder number 1.
Place the engine where number 1 cylinder should fire. And where is that?
Just after, or.
Compression stroke.
Compression stroke, just prior to top dead center. on
Just
compression.
prior to top dead center. Some number of degrees before top dead center. Okay. Let's see. Now what?
On the mag.
Place the magneto, Magneto, where number 1 cylinder, where, I should say ignition,
Number 1B, maybe?
or number 1 happens. Right, put the engine where it's supposed to fire, put the mag where it's supposed to fire the engine at that time, and you. Oh, great, one person. Put them together. What is then the final step?
Fine tune.
Fine tune. Fine tune. All right, so let's look at each step briefly. 1, place the engine. The engine where number 1 cylinder fires. And that is
Just a little bit after top dead center of compression.
on compression. A certain number of degrees before top dead center. Where do we find out what is the appropriate timing?
Whatever's listed on the type certificate data sheet.
Timing information. All right, give me some absolutes. Data plate. Well, airframe data plate, a magneto data plate, carburetor data plate, starter data plate.
Engine.
Okay. Where am I going to find the engine data plate?
On the engine.
Well, where on the engine?
Front.
It's a Lycoming, it would be on the,
Oil pan.
usually on the oil sump. How easy is it to take an oil sump off and get the wrong one on?
Easy.
People do things. Continental, it's on the crankcase. How hard is it to change out a crankcase?
Pretty difficult.
Freaking difficult. All right. So engine data plate should have it. What else?
Type certificate data sheet.
All right. TCDS. Type certificate data sheet will have it on there. Give me something else. Overhaul manual. Does a Lycoming overhaul manual have it? Answer be no.
I don't know, it did not.
Does not. So Lycoming overhaul manual. Some may. Continental does.
Yeah,
So it depends. So this is a maybe. Other two are definite. Could be maybe a data plate, I think, but I don't think so. What else? Oh, very good. That'd be for a Lycoming. What about a Continental?
M0.
Zero.
M0, not MO. Oh, wait, I did it right. M0 manual. That'd be another good place. Anything else? What about written on the engine somewhere? You got that starter ring gear on a Lycoming, has 25 stamped on it. How about that?
Someone could put the wrong one or
Or did
not
the wrong
put it
one.
on incorrectly?
It's not data. It's just marks on an engine.
Known reference points.
They're just marks on an engine.
Okay.
What if somebody painted it red? So you know that's what it is.
They could have painted it.
No.
red.
So in other words, no, no, no. I can't think of anything else besides these. So if you see something on the engine, no.
No, you don't. That's something.
Somebody painted a tooth red, no. I'm not saying it's not it, but do not go by that. There have been many recorded accidents and deaths from mechanics putting the magneto on at the wrong place, a few degrees off, trusting something that somebody else did, taking shortcuts. So while you think it may not be a big deal, people die when you put the magneto on correctly. If you don't torque it down properly and it slips, what it does is it rotates. That's going to give you the wrong timing. So it is bad. Don't do that thing. And then people die. If you've never been, and I don't fly IFR, so I've been VFR, so I'm not in the clouds, but I have been VFR at night over the mountains. And let me tell you, it's really freaking black down there. And as a pilot, you're taught to constantly think about, if my engine quit, what do I do? If my engine quit, what do I do? So you're always looking out, you're paying attention to where you are, you're looking for fields, you're thinking about the wind, you're always keeping that in mind. Because they say once the engine does quit, there's going to be a long period of time where you're in denial over it. You're like, oh, this isn't really happening, I'm sure it'll come back. And so you lose a lot of time in that. So they say, number one, embrace it. But let me tell you, when you're at night, mountains, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to die. That's it. That's your only option right there. Because if you don't see a highway that you can land on with some lights, and then that's even bad too. That's your option. You're just dead. So if the magneto is mistimed or comes apart, that's you better hope the other one continues to carry you. So you got to take it rather serious for people. Let's see. I got. Yeah. Okay. So timing. Let me see what we got. Timing information. I can do this. We'll say methods. Methods for placing the engine at the correct spot. How much do you love the flower pot?
Can I like it negatively?
Not bad, but not great.
Yeah, I also noticed it a lot if you just put some rubber bands and you let it just flop around. It's not even tight on there, and you're trying to do something to 1 degree accuracy, but you're letting it flop around on there. And so how accurate do you think you are?
Not very.
Not very, yeah.
Not very, but you keep doing the same thing over and over. What should you do? Secure it,
Weld it
tape
on.
it, weld it, bolt it, gum, I don't know, do something, right? So what are some of our methods? Let's see. Well, we can go with that. We have flower pot. What's the advantage of a flower pot? I'm not going to write all this down, but it's a flower pot.
It's easy,
Simple.
very simple to set up.
Well, if you do it right, it's relatively easy. It works on all engines. It'll get you reasonably close. It's a good tool to verify the markings that are on the engine. So I'm gonna put that some flower pot. Love it for verifying marks on the engine. So you guys doing the light combing out there, it's fantastic, right? You put it on, you do the whole thing, you get it to top dead center, because I'm not gonna go through all the directions, I've got it written out there, and then you put it at, like, put it on top dead center, go, okay, I'm at top dead center by the flower pot, then you have 2 marks on that starter ring gear, and all you gotta do is look at it and go, well, this one lines up top center, that one lines up top center. It's good. What if you're about that far off? Who screwed up? The starter ring gear people or you with the flower pot?
You.
You with the flower pot. So you're like, okay, the starter ring gear is on correctly. I just wasn't very careful with the flower pot. So out in the field, that's exactly what I would do. I would then realign it with the marks on the starter ring gear. Or if anything, you're gonna be off like half a tooth. And then just make sure you're not doing parallax, right? Where your eyeballs are just seeing it wrong. So love for verifying marks on the engine. With my aircraft, that's the first thing I did, is use the flower pot on that to make sure the marks on my engine are correct, and then I've never touched the flower pot again because I know it's on there correctly. So flower pot, what else we got?
Digital gauge, digital
Yeah,
box, the Johnson.
Yeah, what do you call that?
Oh, like a digital flower pot, really, where you just put it on the blade.
Yeah.
We'll just call that the flower pot. All right. I'll just do that, because it's really just putting a digital angle finder on the prop, but you're still using the dead stop to do that. Let's see, what else we got?
Cylinder stop plug thing.
Well, that's all part of this.
That's part of
That's
the
all part of
flower
it.
pot.
You need that tool to do this. So aside from the flower pot, what else do you have?
Marks on the ring gear.
Okay, starter ring. Starter ring gear support. Marked on the front and back. Are there any dangers in using that?
If it's wrong.
Could be on wrong. Could be the wrong support. So you got to verify it before you trust it. Because that starter ring gear support, it comes right off. You have a 1 in 6 chance of getting it on right. Unless you know what you're doing, then it's a 1 in 1 chance. It's not hard. You put the engine on top dead center of compression and then put this on so that the marks line up. Where are the marks? So this is the front we're looking at, and so right there we'd have something that says TC, which stands for, and then if there's multiple marks, I think that one says 20 and that one says 25. How do you know which one to use?
What your engine wants.
It's on the data sheet.
It's on the data sheet. If you're using this to time the engine, you're wrong, right? Because I hear not you guys, but you know, other classes. Well, why'd you go to 25? That's what's on the starter ring gear. I should go out there and mark 20 and 30 just to see what happens. Huh? Take your pick. All right. And then on the back side, which I don't have a picture of, we're going to have another one. If this is right here, then the other one's going to be right up here, right?
Yep.
So that'd be at 25, because then here we're going to have the starter with a little pinhole in there. And that pinhole lines up with whatever timed at. So, all right, we good with that? So we got to verify. So on the top of the case, you can run a ruler down. I don't know. I don't like that. It's just kind of hard to do, but you can do whatever works best for you. All right, what else we have? What other kind of things? You can see you're highly engaged.
Oh, there's that broken tool you have there.
Broken tool that we have. Thank you. The time right. All you had to do was pay attention to the pictures on that. So the time right's a wonderful tool. Some people say they don't like it because when you carbon built up on the piston, that it will change this. I don't know about that. Ours is very broken because people put it in backwards, and this little post right there, when they go backwards, like it comes up and hits this and then blows this all out. So that just all goes away and then it's broken. But the way that it works is that once you get it set up correctly, it's a wonderful tool because you can do it on an engine stand, horizontally, vertically, whatever you want to do. But you run the engine through its arc, and it's going to bring this little pin along with this and go up, turn around and go back. And when it goes back, it's going to leave this little plastic piece in place. So it came up and went right there. And so you move the slide back and forth until that matched 0. Where is that? Right there. Top dead center. So what you've done is you've affixed the scale at top dead center. Then you rotate the thing back and you start again. You start bringing this pin up, and as it goes, it's going to move this up, up, up. And if you want to go to 20 degrees before top dead center, you just stop when it gets right here. It gets right there where I'm at. 20 degrees before top dead center. So it's a really cool tool. I've never used it with the light feature on it, so I don't know. But time right. Difficult to set up, easy to screw up, easy to break, but they work. What else we have? Time right.
The lights? Or
Well, the buzz box is, how are we going to set the engine to 25 degrees before top dead center with the buzz box?
Carefully.
So here we have the magnetos sitting on the bench. Here's my engine, and I've got my buzz box. Where would you like me to put the leads?
On each end of the prop, obviously.
Each end of the prop. Is it red and red and then grounded?
Yeah, the ground goes on the middle.
So no, that's a no. That's not going to work.
Is there like a stick thing you stick in the? Is that something you said about that?
No, the stick thing is really the time right. It's English. By the way, I do have in my notes that the flower pot is the preferred method for TCM due to over time right due to carbon on piston. So there you have it. So what other methods?
So even to that logic, then wouldn't it also change where the top dead or where it touches that?
Yeah.
Same thing as a.
You're overthinking it.
No, of course I am.
I just said that. I have another thing to say too. Try it again.
Feels like you're trapped.
No, I decided it was my new saying today. Go ahead, ask me again.
Go ahead, ask it again.
What was your question?
Yeah, wouldn't that change where the piston would hit it?
Yeah, I wish I was qualified to answer that.
But there would be undulations, you're saying, in the piston with the carbon
it's not
buildup?
very-
Yes, the carbon buildup. I know what you're saying. It's if there's a 1/4 inch of carbon buildup, well then it's a 1/4 inch more this way top dead center and a 1/4 inch, so all
So it
things should
doesn't
be
matter.
equal. Well, that's what I always thought. But.
Shouldn't you clear the 1/4 inch of carbon?
Well,
1/4
Well, getting
No,
nowhere.
maybe it's not magnetos, not-
I think I know what's wrong with your engine.
During I scrape the core carbon buildup off the top off ever.
there is a procedure somewhere like them. I've never seen it where you can actually walnut blast a piston in place.
You said something about that. I was like,
Okay, so other methods. That's Lycoming's method, so I can put this under Continental. Continental. Where does Continental, where do they put their marks?
It's top.
At the bottom.
At the bottom.
Small engines are on the crank flange. Yeah, usually on the bottom. I hate that. You can put them on the top if you want. So bottom dead center, or if you put it on top dead center on top,
And then
it's bottom dead center. So I know that might be a difficult one for you to think about, but if we have the crankshaft and the mark right there on the bottom, then you have to line it up on the case line, come up on the bottom, and you're upside down, you're looking at it, and that's top center right there, lining up with the case. Well, what happens when top center's up here?
You're not.
Where's the engine at?
Bottom center.
Bottom dead center. So you could put the mark, that's what I do with you guys, put the mark up here on the top, use a ruler on the top of the case, line up top dead center perfectly on the case, and set your flower pot to
180.
180.
180 or bottom center. Then just go back around and top center will be top center. So rather than laying on your back. Small engines there. Let's see, got a picture here.
I feel like then you put yourself another variable though.
What's that?
Then you give yourself another variable for mistake.
Not for me. You put the top on the top, and put the flower pot on the bottom dead center, and it's perfect. It's like, then just turn it back around.
Well, not all you.
Yeah.
Small engines, okay, so,
Yeah, you're perfect then. so.
let's see. No, I don't want to say that. Belt drive, generator, alternator engines. Have a timing, what I want to call timing plate. So there was a service bulletin to get rid of this timing plate. Right. So this is off the starter adapter on the back of these engines. And this pulley right here, that pulley right there, can only go on that shaft one way, ensuring that this mark right there is always in the right spot. So you can never put the pulley on the shaft incorrectly. However, the starter adapter goes onto the engine in one of 25 different ways, because it has gear teeth on one end meshing with gear teeth inside the engine. So you can be one tooth off, or you can be 2 teeth, or you can be 20 some teeth off. If you get 25 teeth off, you're back around the beginning. I don't know how many teeth there are, but it's about that big around, so that'd be about 25, 30 teeth. Do you follow?
Yep.
So while you can always guarantee that you put the pulley on correctly, you can never guarantee that the starter adapter went into the engine. So what happened is somebody did that. Somebody's, it happened I think a lot. People would take off the starter adapter and they didn't know that they had to time the starter adapter, for lack of a better term. You don't have to time it. I mean, the starter adapter doesn't care where it's at. Only this cares where it's at. So what happened is somebody, a lot of somebodies, put the engine together, put the starter adapter on wrong, so this little dot right there was in some random position, and along comes a mechanic who is then going to time the engine very carefully, this mark to this plate right here. You can see right there it says top center, there's 20, there's 28, so 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. See how that goes? So it's very accurate only when it's on correctly. So there's a service instruction to get rid of that to prevent people from dying. My airplane still has it and it works really well, and I'm not taking it off because I like it better than a flower pot. This doesn't scratch the spinner. So let me see. Yeah, caution, pulley can be installed in different positions. Never trust these marks until you personally verify them. The photo I have is from an NTSB investigation where the mechanic misread an old mark and timed the mags at 50 degrees before top instead of 22. The engine detonated and quit on takeoff. Service bulletin M84-8, remove this indicator, but they are still out there and work. So use caution. What do you do first if you have this engine? What do you verify with?
Flower pot.
You can do flower pot. That would be, I think, your best way. What if you just used your pen and brought the engine up on top dead center of number 1 cylinder?
Yeah. It would,
And then verify that this mark is right there.
close enough.
You'll know. If you're off a tooth, it's going to be up here, down here. You're like, oh, that's not even close. So that works too. All right, so that's Sandcast crankcases for Continental, big bore, 470s and up. I think that works great. I don't have a picture of the other one, so I'll just have to tell you. And then, so belt drive, and then we have the per mold. What's per mold mean?
Alternators on the front.
Alternators up front, per mold. Has an oil drain looking plug with timing marks. behind it by the alternator. So on a per-mold case, because it has an alternator that is driven off the crankshaft, oh man, I was going to draw this. Here's our flange, here's our crankshaft, we're going to go off into our throws. So the alternator is going to be driven right here, with all the gear teeth right here, right? But you got to transfer.
I didn't like it enough.
Just put a couple teeth on it. There. It's like a real into gear. It's missing a bunch of teeth. So you got to drive that off there. Well, that means you're going to have a gear that goes this way with teeth that are in that line, right? And so this gear right here, which actually has some thickness to it, has timing marks on it. Somewhere in there it's going to have TC, and then 20, 24, like that. And so you're going to pull out this little plug inside the engine, and you look in there, and whichever tooth is right in the middle of the window, that's your timing mark. Now the nice thing about that is this gear only goes on one way. It's got 4 bolts in it, and those 4 bolts are eccentric. They only go on one way. Question, how do you get this gear over that flange?
Put it on before.
You gotta heat it up, expand it. No. It starts at the other end. You gotta go all the way around the whole crankshaft and put it on. And you get it down, you're like, oh crap, I went the other way. So you go all the way down, turn it over, and then go. So those are 2 ways to do it. How do you verify the marks here?
Flower pot.
Yep, I did one the other day. Guess what I told the guy to do? Verify. I knew that gear only went on one way, but I don't want him to verify.
Teach him a lesson.
Walk up.
Somebody's life's on the line. That's what I would want. Okay. So we got to put the engine where we want it. Now we have all these different ways to do it. So does it matter which way you do?
As long as it's right.
As long as it's right. Yeah. Are you being lazy if you just use the gear on the starter ring gear support?
Nope.
I don't think so. Not if you're more accurate. I don't think that's lazy at all. I think that's fantastic.
When it's verified
It's verified and guaranteed. That's how you do it. Especially on Lycoming, they're easy. Put the piston top dead center. That gear's only going to go on go on 6 different ways, but if you're off by a tooth, you'll know it. Top center's here and it's over here. It's not going to be here. It's going to be over here somewhere. You're like, well, that's not right. Then you kind of get it over here. Was that the right spot? Yeah, you just had to move a little bit. That's about a degree.
plus with the master bushing,
Yeah, I wouldn't always trust that. So that was one of my jobs today, is to verify that Lycoming had the right crankshaft installed and the bushings were in the right spot. Because I didn't trust who did it. I didn't even trust that they put the right crankshaft in the engine. That's how bad my trust was gone. Okay. Point number 4, which is step number 2, which is
put the magneto and ignition for cylinder 1 out.
just how cold you gonna let it get back there.
That's what I'm wondering, dude.
What?
Okay.
I know,
we need someone, dude. You guys not
We
watching
need a
it?
passcode on the
It's fine.
I know. Did you just? Damn it, Gabe.
God, dude.
Geez, Dave, you got one job, buddy.
No.
Place the magneto.
Not touch the AC.
Place the magneto where it fires number 1 cylinder. How do we do that?
On which you got
Alright, so we'll do it this way. Slick.
with the
Super easy. What a pick.
Slick. What yeah, I'm going to erase that because I wrote things to know. And you're thinking, why don't you just do this for everything? Things to know. Just tell us real quick and then we can just go take our test, be mechanics. Magnetos, now called mags, so I can save time, SeaWorld, are marked L and R. What does that refer to?
Rotation.
Refers to rotation and not position. So this one says L, so which side does it go on?
Either side.
Does it have an impulse coupling?
Has an impulse coupling, which side does it go on?
Left side. Left side.
Or possibly right, we don't know. But definitely it is not marked as the left side, it just happens to have that. All right, let's see. Direction of rotation. Is viewed from the drive end. So this says L. So, wait, it's pilot's perspective, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. It's not the pilot perspective sometimes. Left-hand rotation, so we all have to look at it together and say it goes that way. We never say pilot's perspective because if this went into a Lycoming and I'm the pilot, it's going to be sitting right there. But if you're flying in my plane, it's going to be sitting like that, facing me. So I can't say pilot's perspective because Lycoming goes this way, Continental goes this way. Then you got a Continental that's in a Skymaster. Then it's going like this way on that one, but this way if it's a Lycoming. So don't say pilot's perspective. Drive end. Firing order. Firing order of a magneto is 1,
2, 3, 4,
2,
5, 6.
3, 4, 5, 6. That's for a 6-cylinder. What if it's 4-cylinder? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the firing order for magneto. That means it fires this one, then that one, then that one, then that one, then that one. It doesn't skip around like an engine can. Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about the left side. Let's see. If we have the. Oh, wait a minute. Question.
If it's a left-hand rotation, does it fire to the left?
That's my guy. Now I'm drawing the back right here. I'm drawing that for you. Make it a 4-cylinder. Did this do that? Oh.
Whoa. So perfect.
What?
Oh.
What is that?
0.
Oh, look at that. Almost, you know. Okay. On a slick, the cap is marked as to which one is number 1. Upper right?
Top right.
Upper right. So the cap tells you which one is number 1. So if this is number 1, and this is a left-hand rotating magneto, like this one says left-hand, which one is number 2?
One to the left.
One to the left.
It's also to the left. It's just a nice coincidence. If I look at this way and I say it's a left-hand rotating magneto, this turns to the left. But if I turn, so this turns to the left, which way is the distributor turning right now? It's turning to the right from this perspective, but if I turn around and look at it, now it's going to the left. So it also goes to the left if you turn it around and look at it. So that means the next one to fire is 3, 4. But this goes to number 1 cylinder. This goes to
Number 3.
number 3,
Number 2.
Number 2.
2,
Number 4.
4. What if I installed this backwards? Or so one time we built an engine. In the small Continentals, they make the C90, C80, usually C85s. They're the -8, the -12s. The difference is the -8s don't have a starter, and so they put the mags off a different gear, and the gears run the opposite way. So I don't remember anymore. I think gears are right hands, and so they'll be left hands. And we ordered a harness and the harness has these numbers marked on them. So you buy the harness and it just says, like, top 1, you know, bottom 3, top there, bottom there, something like that, right? It'll tell you where to put them, stamped right on the harness. So the harness came in, somebody ordered it for a 12 instead of a -8, and they just wired it up. And so where did these harnesses, wires actually go? So where did 1 end up going?
Still to 1.
Okay, still to 1. What's the next one to fire?
3.
Well, it's going to jump over here to 3. What's the next hole to fire?
Two.
The 2 hole or the 4 hole?
Oh, you swap the rotation?
Yeah.
So then the
that's swap
4 would be the
rotation.
next one to fire.
So 4. So 4 should have went to 4, but where did 4 end up going to?
4 bottoms, so that should have gone to 3 top. Or 3
So-
bottoms, sorry.
That went to 3. Where did this one go?
Or 3 top.
That went to 2. Where'd this one go? You guys follow what happened?
Yeah, 3 and 4 got swapped.
Yeah. So if you turn it around, 1 always goes to 1, 2 always goes to 2, but 3 and 4 get swapped.
Does it matter if you one magneto goes to all the top cylinders, the other goes to all the bottom cylinders? Does it
No,
matter if you swap the?
It's there's service bulletins and alternate ways of running it and stuff like that. So you can just follow whatever the service bulletin or manual lets you do. But it was kind of funny because they built this engine and it's like a super cub or something like that. And I remember the guy coming back for something. He said, it just doesn't give the power that I thought it would. It feels like it had more power before. And they troubleshot that thing, and I don't know, I just had one of these brain blasts one day where, normally I'm the idiot, but something, I'm like, hey, what if you got the wrong harness on there? 2 plugs were swapped. Like, that's stupid. I'm like, well, just try it. And I had to draw this out and explain it, and, do an interpretive dance, and finally somebody believed me, and they did it, and it was like, oh, wow, that was it. How funny. Thing runs great now. Like, dude, you're flying around on 2 cylinders? This is freaking crazy, man.
It's kind of amazing. He's like, it doesn't really quite feel like it has.
I know.
You mean
It
at
was
half the
pretty
amount of power?
crazy.
I only slightly am falling out.
Yeah.
You went from, what, 85 horsepower?
Yeah,
you just half this horsepower.
About half your power.
Didn't have very much to begin with anyway.
Break